Okay, so how you guys doing in so far? Good. Yeah. So last week was emergency, so I could not hold the online meeting because one of my friends passed away. I have to fly back to Houston. Right now I'm here in Louisville, Kentucky. Mm. So I have read most of your work. So right now, up to now, you guys know how I grade your paper, right? Right. Okay. So please, before submitting any paper, just read it carefully, especially the uh, grammatical errors, typo, and so forth. Hmm. So let's see here. Any question before I move on? Hmm. So how about have you worked with your partner for the online group presentation yet? Not yet. It should be done by next Sunday then. Okay. Uh,
Oh, I have one little question. Sorry.
yes. Yes.
So the group project that's going to be due that's due next Sunday at midnight. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to clarify.
Hmm. Oh, one more thing I want to clarify is that group online group presentation is quite different from your own final presentation. Don't confuse with that. Christina, we talked about that, right? Can you explain to them for me, please? What's the difference?
So basically, the week 4, which is the one with your partner, you have a presentation. I think the total is 30 minutes for both of y'all. And then there's one more presentation at the end where you have your own topic, which was submitted last week. And you make your own 30-minute video over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see here. In so far, let's see. Let me go back to the race system. Mm. So in so far, how you guys feel up to now? A lot of pressure, or you take time to study, or what? Or do you feel in rush, or what? What do you feel? Anyone you can handle, right? Okay. So let me see here. So Jenny, you missed some assignment, okay, Jenny?
Yeah, would it be okay for me to turn those in late?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I
Yeah,
don't mind taking the grade. It's
yeah.
just I
And
kind of did get overwhelmed because I procrastinated and
yeah, please,
it's.
please
But
don't
I'll turn them in.
don't delay your work.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Let's do right.
I would appreciate it if you don't discuss my school assignments and missing assignments in front of the class.
You know what you missed, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so no problem. So you still turn on the late assignment then.
I
Okay.
understand. Thank you.
Mm. All right. So let's me move on to discuss what we learned for this week. Okay, let me share with you the screen. Okay, here. Okay, so this is the third week. Okay, so mm, this week, sorry, this week this is normal week, and you guys submit the topic and outline last week, right? So this week we talk about the path to Buddha and meditation. Mm. Okay, let's go back here with okay, this one here. This is a week 3 description. Okay, so please let's see here. After my explanation, you guys should participate and respond to the question. Okay. Yeah. Let me give you brief explanation. How many of you have read, watched my record video clips? How many of you? And what you watch my decor video clips for this week? No. Yeah, in the recording, in the recording. So this is one here. Uh, let's see here. Oh, okay. Yeah. So did you watch for the second week? Did you guys watch the decor? No. Yeah, this video lecture here, and in the video lecture, have you watched this one? And one of you, you did. How was that? Is it detailed information? Yeah, this is published here. And of course, it's optional, but it's beneficial if you can watch them. Okay. Yeah, let's go back to week 3. Okay, so we will cover the chapter 3, part 2, chapter 3, the path of Buddha, and morality, and chapter 4, mental cultivations. Yeah, we talk about the Eightfold Paths, mental stages, chanting visualization, art and architecture, and mandala. So let me show you this one here. I think I put somewhere else. I put somewhere in the here. Here's the Eightfold Path, right? Wise understanding, wise intention, wise speech or action, right livelihood, wise effort, wise mindfulness, and concentration here. So, again, the Four Noble Truths, the first one is the truth of suffering, the suffering that's related to our body and our mind. And the second one is the reason why we suffer, because in Buddhist view, there are 3 poisons: the greed, hatred, and stupidity. And in any things, we can transfer from suffering to happiness and vice versa, according to how you view things. Right? For example, if you recognize that learning is a source of uh, joy, you will enjoy to study, right? But if you think that learning is kind of burden, that's suffering. Is that right? You understand that? So it's up to you. It's still the shop of learning, whichever. Whether it's you take the class or math or science and so forth. If you really in tune with the class, with the subject, you really enjoy. But if you think, oh, it's no use for me to study, but I have to study anyway, that's the burden. So again, depend upon how you view about suffering or happiness. So that's why in the last one, the Buddha say you have to change your view. You have to have wise understanding of life. Let me show here. There's one understand. You need to understand the Four Noble Truths, the karma, the cause and effect, the 3 characteristics of existence. Anicca has mean permanent, dukkha has mean suffering, and the last one is no self. That is the unique principle of Buddhism. So let's put this way: uh, if you don't recognize or you don't have this kind of wise understanding about the karma, if you say something offended to other, and of course you bring suffering to those people, but at the end of the day, the suffering come back to you. You follow me? Right. So that's why you need to recognize us. And when talk about the impermanence, Anika, if you understand, yeah, life is impermanent. Uh, whichever thing happen, is you couldn't accept it easily. Otherwise, it's suffering. And if you here feel the great impact of the COVID-19 in your life, how many of you feel that COVID-19's impact tremendously on your life? Can you raise your hand? How is that? How, Christina, how COVID-19 impact your life?
I had to move back home, study from home.
Miss your friends too, right? How about Caden? How did you feel? How do you feel? How much do you think that COVID-19 impact your life?
I'd say the same, and probably my mental health, if anything.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
about Lex? So Lex, what do you think?
For me, I really feel like COVID-19 has really upped my stress. I am one of those people who has to work to pay rent and stuff and live. And so I'm working a service job, and dealing with people about the masks every day really just grinds my gears.
Abigail?
Yeah, I just got super anxious, and then I was kind of isolated by myself like last semester and this semester, and my mental health like really suffered, but yeah, so it was bad.
Yeah.
That was bad.
How about you, Jenny? How was that, Jenny?
Well, I had one uncle pass away from COVID, and then I had another uncle pass away about a month later.
Wow.
And then I've it's just dealing with like the deteriorating health of my family. Like my parents, we're all getting older, and just being isolated at home when they were always out and about and physical, and that takes a toll on them. That took a toll on them because now they're suffering, physical ailments, and also like my own health, and that affect, and in turn affects, my mental health. But I've been trying to think positively because we don't have a lot of time. That's what I learned, dealing with my uncles, and it's just that's being at home and having to paint and stuff and not coming up with ideas. That affected me a lot. But getting used to it, it's funny. That's life.
Epi? Sorry, we cannot hear you. Yeah, check with your mic, please. We can hear you. Yeah, check with your mic. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, good. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. So COVID-19, I've had a lot of time just to, like meditate, like I said in the last class. And then, I can't say it was very negative. There are a lot of positive things for me, which just, kind of goes to show you the subjective nature of things. I had a lot of time, like I said, just meditating. I was collecting the stimulus checks and whatnot. So I understand some people went through some unfortunate circumstances, and I feel their suffering. But for me, I say it was actually more productive than it was negative in the long run for me. Yeah. There's something about solitude, man. You know what I mean? Just being by yourself, isolated, you really get to ponder some stuff. So I took some time to ponder some stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. So again, the problem is there. The right is there, but how you view them may make different, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, this is your mentality. If you feel in the positive way, no matter what happened, it was sort of encouragement. Sorry. So, yeah, sorry. Yeah, again, in any circumstances, if you view in the positive way, you can uplift your spirit. But even in the favorable situation, If you feel in a negative way, you burn yourself, right? How about Jack? What do you think about the COVID?
I had a pretty similar experience as Effie. You know, basically all it did was force me to study from home. So that's about it.
Yeah, a lot of people, they couldn't accept, right, what's going on, right? They couldn't accept, oh, I'm blocked down now. I stay at home now. I could not go out to associate with my friends, and I lost my job, and I don't have an internship and so forth. It's so frustrating, right? But if you say, if you see in different way, in different spectrum, well, this is a time for us to rest, to stay back, to look in ourselves, and even have time with your family members, right? It's pretty rare during the normal times. Everyone take up in the morning. Is that right? Everyone go to different restaurant. But now the COVID-19, somehow you stay around. So you cherish the time with your spouse, your parents, or whoever. Of course, now we get back to the normal life. Christina, you happy? We get back to normal life now? Or you still scared?
No, I'm happy that everything's like getting back to normal.
Yeah, of course, we sad that some of our members pass away and our friends won't be here anymore. But again, that's a life. That's why Buddha say, if we recognize life is permanent, whichever happen, it's easy to accept. If we don't accept that, it suffer. So you have only two choices. Either accept that or be suffer. What's your choice? You understand that? If you accept and move on, nothing we can do because affect the whole world. Nothing we can do. Of course, it's better now because of the vaccination. Everything's cooled down. But all the part of the world is still happening. So that's why Buddha say, if you recognize the principle of impermanence, it's much easier to move on. And the second one is suffering again. There's this all kind of dysfunction that we cannot uh, run away from. And the last one is no self. That is not easy concept for non-Buddhists or beginners to understand. Who knows? What's maybe there's no self in Buddhist view. Who knows? Why? What Buddhists uh, postulated? Yet you have a fair, please. Why is that? Why so important principle?
I got you. I mean, this is something I was actually meditating on last night. We're made up of a collection of cells. Like a collection of atoms, molecules, stuff like that, which are vibrating, changing every day, every second. They're changing, so we're never the same person from one moment to the next. I mean, that's just one interpretation of it. But the way I see it is simply that there is just no you. There is no separate self. We're all interdependent. You breathe air, you drink water. You're made of the earth. It doesn't belong to you. So it's a difficult concept to grasp because when you go throughout daily activities, you feel like there is a self that exists. But once you practice enough, and you practice Vipassana meditation, and you kind of dissolve all these thoughts that are going on in your head, which are contributing to this illusion of self. Every now and again, you get this feeling of being, bigger than just this local consciousness right here, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, there's been times where I've been meditating, and I just feel like, there's experiences of oneness. I'm sure you've heard experiences of oneness and sameness where everything around you just feels like it's all part of a bigger thing. And I've had, some experiences like that. But for me, the no self principle, is not as crucial as the impermanence and the suffering. Meditating on impermanence and meditating on suffering, those two things for me have allowed me to enter, higher states of meditative trance. So I usually try to stay away from the no self. I mean, I wouldn't say I stay away from it, but for me, it's something that is so difficult to destroy the illusion, because the ego's just fighting you the whole time. You're sitting there saying, I don't exist. The ego's like, no, you do exist. So it's a difficult thing. But whenever you take your mind to impermanence it's a lot easier to see because thoughts, they come and go, feelings, they come and go, everything comes and goes like that. And then whenever you focus on suffering, even, you know, you can kind of get down and start understanding how, you know, your craving is the cause of suffering. And then once you follow that, you trace it all the way back to the source, you'll realize the craving for existence itself is the cause of our suffering in a more broad general sense. But like you said, this is more complex stuff, so not everyone will understand, you know, what I just said. So
Wow, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for explanation. Go ahead, Caden. What do you want to say, Caden?
Oh, I was gonna ask what you meant by removing the mind or removing the idea of impermanence from the mind. I just didn't understand that.
Are you
Yeah.
asking me?
Yeah, sorry.
Removing the idea of impermanence from the mind. Well, it's not so much removing it from the mind, more is like what I do when I meditate, sometimes like I'll breathe in and then I'll focus on impermanence as I'm breathing in. So it's like
Oh,
I just took it, you know what I'm saying? So you'll just focus on impermanence like while you're meditating, and then you'll start realizing like, okay, this thought just came. Okay, focus on impermanence, it's gone. You know what I'm saying? And then another thought or sensation will pop up. But if you're focusing on impermanence, this idea of nothing being permanent, everything is just transient, it's not really here. You know, you'll realize, yeah, everything is not really here. You know, nothing really has a stable existence. It's a
Wow.
difficult concept to grasp, but you know, once you start practicing it, you know, I feel it's pretty easy to understand. I hope that answers your question.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, actually, the no self principle is one of the most critical, one of the most important principle in Buddhism. As you understand this, it's much easier for you to move on in life. Now, let's put it this way. Let's go back to the problems. Okay, here I have my own names. You have your names. You okay, like Jen, Kaden, and so forth. So why? What does Buddhism emphasize on no self? Everyone has name. Everyone has some kind of identities, right? I once think, oh, okay. When I'm thinking about going to school, this me. I'm the one that think about that. When I'm angry, I think, oh, this is mine. I'm have that type of emotion. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm stressed out. So why does Buddhism denote or negate the self? If you understand that, if you can respond or reply to that question, answer that question, you understand the meaning of no self. Anyone? Jenny, you understand? Go ahead, Jenny.
Hmm, I I think only because I've grown up like I have an identical twin, so I've always thought about my own identity, even as a kid. And the way Efe was talking about like impermanence and meditating and stuff, I always remember it just like randomly meditating and thinking about how I'm not like permanent. Or it's funny to think about how I used to always meditate, like putting a name to it since I was a little kid. I would always zone out and like not think of anything and think about how I was not here, or you know, me and her we're one entity. And I feel like that also made me like think like everybody's the same, or like I feel like this not having a soul, not having this individuality makes us think of broader sense of like everybody's the same and
Wow.
not the same at the same time, you know, and it makes us empathize with other people and think, well, I got these problems, they have problems too, you know, they're probably angry for, you know, somebody's probably angry because of something, a suffering or something, you know, it makes me empathize with other people better. And like, also like be happy for them when they are happy, or, you know, like, it makes me think of like everybody as a whole rather than an individual. And I feel like that's why.
Wow, that's wonderful. Lex, you want to say anything?
Yeah, actually, I had a vague understanding of it. Beforehand, I understood that like you're not a person, but Efe explaining that just now has really enlightened me for a lot of things. And I think like I kind of condensed it down to like a single thought for me, which like we crave and desire meaning in our life, and we just want everything to have a meaning. But sometimes things just are, and we're not a part of it. We're just there experiencing it.
Anyone else want to add more? It's so important, so critical, right?
I think
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think what Lex said actually is really important. Like the idea that some things just don't have a meaning, they just are. Like right now, I'm going through my own sort of like issues with my own mental health and being recently diagnosed with my own being recently diagnosed. I or 6 months ago being diagnosed, I realized that sometimes like there is no explanation. You just have to go with the flow, and you have to understand that you're you have to make the best out of what you have, and you have to push through with what you have, like with the cards that you have like left with you. I don't know if I'm making sense, but you can't expect, like Lex said, for everything to have a meaning. Sometimes you just have to create the meaning and make it more positive meaning out of what you have. And like you said, the outlook has to be a positive outlook, or else you're just going to be suffering for forever. And I don't know. I think that was a really important thing to say, was that just some things just don't have meanings. They just are. It just is. It is what it is.
And you see that even some of our family members or friends, they passed away during the COVID-19. And where will they go, right? And even if for us, like especially for you guys, what's the purpose of going to school? What's the purpose of getting a job? What's the purpose of get married, have family, and so forth? If it's no sales, so why do we focus so much on our career or whichever? Why is that? Is that paradoxy here? Yes,
Mixed
Lex?
feelings about that.
Mhm.
From an
Yeah.
outsider perspective, like I understand and I appreciate Buddhism, but I find a lot of joy in identity
Mhm.
personally. So that's why, like, I understand where it's coming from, and I get that that brings a lot of suffering and having an identity and experiencing things as an individual. But I still think there is quite a bit of joy in that, and maybe that's just my personal viewpoint on it. But I understand.
Okay. Okay. Here, let me explain step by step for you to understand. In Buddhist view, the reason why the no self principle is one of the most critical, important principle is that now look at our body. We're here, not forever. We're here probably for a few more decades, and we have to go physically. No matter what type of title we have, status we have, enjoyment we have, a suffering we have, right? One day we have to go. That's the physical body. Our mentality is changing moment by moment. There's no real self that can say, "Oh, I'm thinking about this. I'm angry. I'm suffering, and so forth." So somehow we claim ourselves with those kind of emotion, but those emotion or those thoughts change in from instant to instant. So physically, mentally, there's no real self at all. If it's real self, it's really permanent, right? It will last a lot forever, but that's not the case. And our environment, look at the cars, look at the house, and so forth, everything's changing. So that's why Buddha reminds us there's no real self in this kind of entities, whether it's physical or mental aspect of our identities. But here's the trick that you need to recognize. When Buddha emphasizes no real self, it doesn't mean that he negates everything. That doesn't mean that we don't care anything. The reason why he reminds us to negate that kind of illusion about the self, so that we can go back to our nature, the goodness nature, the compassion, the forgiveness, the loving kindness that every one of us has. Instead of sticking or get stuck without anger, without desire, without craving, this without anxiety or whichever emotion we have. You understand that? So that is one reason why the Buddha reminds us that we need to negate this kind of illusion so that we get back to that state of mind. That's what we talk about the next one, the meditation, right? You need to initiate, you need to get back to your inherent wisdom that include all aspects of enlightened person, like you have compassion, love, and kindness. So everyone has us, no matter who we are. Like Jen just said, right? Whether we're male, female, wealthy, unwealthy, or regardless of the race we come from, whichever. All words, even the animals. Look at the pet, look at the dog and the cat. How, especially the dog, how they are so faithful to the owner, right? So that's the unique characteristics. So that's why we need to recognize so that we can develop in the fully way. That's the whole purpose of negating the illusional body and the mind cell. You understand now? So don't be confused. Otherwise, other people they say if the Buddhists say, oh, there's no cell, that means nothing for us to do. Why do we need to go to school? Why need to have career? Why need to have family and so forth? Yes, we need to go to school to have education. We need to have the job to handle our life and take care of other people too, so that we can develop our compassion, our love and kindness, can develop that type of pure goodness qualities that everyone of us has. You understand now, right? So otherwise, it will be confusion. Otherwise, this is so pessimistic that oh, nothing's for in our life. There's no purpose for starting, no purpose for having this title, like Lex, right? No purpose for having this type of identity. But here, yes, you know that we have that kind of potential, that kind of highest quality we need to develop instead of get stuck with those kind of emotional problems. Is that clear now?
I understand. I just think that it's a difficulty that I would personally have if I were trying to reach that sense of enlightenment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now here, let me give you one practical example. Let's say, you know, uh, in life, right? Who had a car accident before? Anyone has car accident? Okay. So what happened, Abigail? What happened then?
Oh, it was like it was bad. I ran into a professor's new red Mercedes.
You ran into?
Yeah, I ran into it. It was bad. Yeah, it was really bad.
Okay.
Everything's okay. No one was hurt, but it was bad.
So your insurance cover that?
I'm sorry.
Your insurance cover that?
Oh yes, thank goodness. It was like no one was at fault, but I felt so bad. Oh my, it was bad.
Yeah. How about Afe? What happened then?
It was the night of my birthday.
Yeah. What
My
happened?
father, he told me not to go out, but I went out anyways. And I was driving at night, and I didn't see a car was coming, so I hit him and messed up my Lexus. But it's all good. Yeah.
You hit someone or someone hit you?
I hit them. Yeah.
And insurance cover that too, right?
Yeah.
I have observed and witnessed all kind of conflict. Let's say if someone hit the back of your car slightly or get crash your car, and if we recognize, oh, the car is still impermanent. If it's not severe, right, we can let go. Otherwise, it's my car. I remember, I think probably last couple of months when they flew from New Orleans. No, sorry, from Orlando back to Louisville, Kentucky. And while I was walking around the airport, has one old lady. She hold on the cart that pushed the luggage, and somehow when I look around, so she said, "This is my cart. Don't touch it." When we laugh with myself. That's so people are so attached to little things. that they say, oh, this is my car, this is my food, and so what happened when it's gone? It's suffer. That's why the idea of no cell is would be helpful when we look in the broader picture instead of attaching to the little things. You understand now? You understand what I'm talking about? Okay. So let's go back to your question then. It's okay. Okay. Let's see here. Mm, let's go back to the question that I think I like you guys to respond so that you can have credit. Okay. Let's see here. All right, go ahead. These are the question for 3A. Anyone want to respond? You can let me know. Since we have only few students here, you can raise your hand or let me know which question. Number one, is the Western term do what you saw compatible with Buddhist view on the law of karma? Anyone want to respond to this question? Let me know if you want to respond. Is it compatible?
Are you asking us to respond like verbally right now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I think that it's compatible.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Can you explain?
I think it's compatible because there's the one part where it says sowing karmic seeds, reap karmic deeds in the future. Some you put in the efforts and you don't see the positive outcome from it. And I think in a lot of ways, it shows karma specifically.
Okay.
I don't know so much, but karma, I feel like it does explain.
So, in general, what's the main notion of karma in the West to compare with the East, or to compare with the notion of Buddhist karma? What's the difference?
I think in the West, it's more of like a justice type thing. Like,
Really?
you know,
Oh,
you do
that's
something
karma,
wrong.
right? When someone hit you, right? That's karma.
Yeah, that's karma. Yeah, exactly. That's karma. And where in
Okay.
the Eastern society, it's less about justice. The universe doesn't care about justice. It cares more about simply. It's like vibrations is the way I see it. You know, you put out a certain energy. The universe simply reciprocates the energy that you put out. You know, you do a certain thing, you're just going to get back what you did. You know, if it comes from a negative root, then you should expect negativity to be reciprocated too. If it comes from a positive root, you should expect positivity. That's the way I look at it. There's no such thing as justice. There's no such thing as right and wrong. It's just a matter of, you know, you get back what you put out. So.
Yeah, that's totally correct. Yeah. Anyway, so it's so important that Buddhists need to recognize the law of karma so that they can be can be careful what they say, what they do. Now here in Buddhist view, we cannot judge people based upon how they look. We cannot judge people based upon their nationality, race, and so forth. But we can recognize how they act. So we'll talk about that later on. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Who would like to respond? Elaborate how Dalai Lama implements Buddhist compassion and deal with Chinese communists who occupy his country, Tibet, and kill millions of his countrymen. Anyone want to respond to this question? I think some of you recognize Dalai Lama, right? Remember, he's not the Pope. He's not the Buddhist Pope. But he's the one of the leaders of Tibetan Buddhist Buddhism, right? Not the Buddhist Pope. Anyone want to respond to this? It's easy. How could he deal with those Chinese communists that occupy his country and kill millions of his countrymen? How could he implement that? Anyone? Okay. Since we have a lot of questions, let me point the question. Okay. And if we have time, we come back. Otherwise, we would not have times. Okay. Number 3. Articulate how fake news spread around like cancer cell in society. and explain how Buddhist right speech can help to counter them. Anyone want to respond this? No? Okay, please respond so that we can get the credit, okay? All right, number 4, elaborate how animal rights advocates is compatible with Buddhist right action. Easy. How is that? Anyone? Okay, let me, if that's the case, let me ask, let me call your name, okay? And you, whichever number you want to pick up, okay? Caden, which number you want to respond, Caden?
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't read yet. So that's why I'm not comfortable answering, but I can give the best answer that I can to number 4.
Sure, go ahead.
So from my understanding and from the lecture that you gave on the pre-recorded lecture from a couple of weeks ago, Buddhism requires its adherents to like be compassionate and respectful to the environment and to like animals, which is why there's let me see the question one more time. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay.
So sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. How animal rights advocates,
okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So no, Buddhism promotes this idea that, well, actually, also when you think about the cycle of life, like the life cycle, and how animals are like, we could, from my understanding, we could be reincarnated as an animal, right?
Yeah.
So you never want, you don't want to disrespect or harm an animal because there's no you're just causing harm. And excuse me, like I said, I didn't read, so I'm a little flustered.
Okay. Who can respond to my question? Why do we need to care for animals? Why is that? Why do we need to care for animals anyway?
I got you, Professor.
Huh?
And my understanding of it is, I don't know, it's like all of our actions, they come from a certain place. That's why the Eightfold Path, it begins with right view, right? And then right thought, and then, right speech, right action. My understanding is, if you were to, not care about animal rights, it represents a certain level of ignorance within yourself. And ignorance, of course, is what leads to suffering. So with this whole path, it's kind of just trying to, uproot some ignorance in its entirety. So if you're hurting animals, there's a degree of ignorance there, which is causing you to not see an animal as another sentient being, no different than, another human, no different than yourself. So by harming an animal, not only you're harming the animal, you're harming yourself. So like you said, when you said earlier, you said, suffering, we do certain things, we not only cause suffering for others, but for ourselves. It's the same kind of mentality. You harm an animal, it comes from a place of ignorance. And that same ignorance can extend itself to other areas and end up, causing you a great deal of suffering in the long run, and end up, making it more difficult to reach that level of, mental tranquility, which is necessary to start, experiencing, insight and clarity on the path to enlightenment. That's the way I see it, which is why when I see animals on campus, for instance, like a squirrel, if I got nuts on me or I got something on me, some water, I always try and, reach out to the squirrel and give the squirrel, some water, some peanuts or something. Because for me that's good karma rather than harming the animal, which just generates negative karma. But that's just one interpretation of it.
Yeah, Amno is part of beings in our universe, on our world. We depend on them. They depend on us. So if we harm them, like you say, we harm ourselves too. It's a pretty long discussion, but again, someone prefer to take care of the pet, right? Dog, cat, but they consume cow, pig, and so forth. What do you think? It's unfair, right? That's why we have the animal advocates. All right, so let's move on then. Okay, so that's why in Buddhism it's so important that we care for ourselves, for animals, for even for the environment too, because we are one with them. We don't say, "Oh, I'm the animal kingdom. I'm a king. I can harm others for the sake of my enjoyment." But in the end, we harm ourselves, especially nowadays with the global warming effect. Right? Okay, let's move on. Let Christina, you want to respond to any question here?
I also haven't read, but like I know like a little bit about number 5. I know that Buddhists can defend themselves, but they have to think in a way that they cannot kill. I do know that they serve in the military, but I'm not exactly sure how that works since they don't kill, or like they don't have the mindset of killing. But I do know that they do defend themselves if that's permittable, but they do have the mindset that if they were up to something that would basically want revenge or whatever the case may be against a Buddhist, they would think that it's okay and that they have to accept that they aren't up against whatever they're up against.
So most of you watch Kung Fu movie, right? No? No? Oh, actually, I used to tell, it's not funny story, but it's happened to me many times, just once times. So when they went out with the monk robes, and some young gentleman approached me and asked if I know Kung Fu. That's the notion that misconception that they think, oh, monks should know Kung Fu. But again, even we know Kung Fu, but we still use it for self-defense. And go back to the question, Christina, here, can a Buddhist buy a defense stock? Or can they serve, you mentioned, but can you buy defense stock? Can you do that?
I'm not really sure what that is.
Well, defense stock? Anyone
No.
you play stock here? Oh, Liz,
have defense stock, but isn't that just buying bonds that support the military?
Can you?
Oh.
If you were Buddhist, can you?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
No. That's what the thing. If you were Buddhist, would you buy defense stock? Like Lockheed, right? Some big company that produce airplane, right? Tank and so forth.
I don't.
But like also like I don't. Sorry, go ahead.
That's it. That's all I had to say. I just don't think so.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I also don't know why they would think that way either. So I don't know.
No.
It's very roundabout, and I feel like they're more direct about what they're doing, like to do stuff with intention. So I feel like that's just kind of passing it a little bit.
But Jack, if you're a Buddhist, would you buy a defense stock, or could you serve in military?
I'm not sure. I think that my guess is no, that you cannot buy defense stock.
Why is that?
But just a hunch.
Why?
No, it doesn't seem like very good karma to profit off of war.
Okay. How about serve in the army, navy, and so forth? Can a Buddhist serve in navy, army, and military? Can they? Abira, yeah, go ahead, Lex. Why?
I feel like the military is more than just the people who hurt other people. There's a lot of places where the military is also connected to like relief and aid. So I feel like if your intent when going in the military is going towards that, like if you join like the Peace Corps, that's something different than if you were going to join like you were the actual artillery and you're actually operating weaponry. And I feel like if you are a Buddhist and you enter the military field, you do it with intention about you want to help, I guess.
Yeah. And
I think it's possible.
Again, it's possible for the Buddhists to join in with military, like to serve in army, navy, and so as long as they have intention to protect the country, not take advantage of using the weapons to harm others. Of course, when they were sent to the battlefield, they have no choice. They will hate the bad karma. So actually, for me, usually for the youth, if they really want to join with the military, I would advise them to join Coast Guard or National Reserve, so that at least, or National Guard, so at least they stay in the country instead of going out of the country. You know, when they go out of the country, they may endanger their life and they may have the chance to harm others. So if they join with the Coast Guard, most of the time they protect the country and the coastline from the bad guy, selling drugs and so forth. If the young, if the youth, if they really want to join with the military, I used to give them the advice. Again, there's two. We have to take the two things in consideration. That when you are in battlefield, you kill others. That you can live, it's okay. But on the other hand, you protect the country, but you need to accept the consequence, the karma that you harm others. Okay. So again, no matter what, don't force yourself, don't put yourself in that kind of situation. Okay. So let's move on. The next, okay. Jeffrey, you want to respond to any of this question?
Sure. Can you scroll up to the first few questions?
Yes.
I
have another one here for you here, the list of questions here. That's related to the mindfulness practice. It's up to you. You can try to participate so that can get the credit then. Which one do you prefer? This one or this one?
I'll do one of these, the second one.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
The second questions.
Which question?
I'll do 5, I guess.
Okay, go ahead.
My guess as to why visualizations of Buddhas and bodhisattvas and deities would be very essential to Buddhist practices would be that those are beings and deities who have reached either nirvana or very high states along the path, and so that would be beneficial to meditate on and to look up to.
Yes, for us as Buddhists, we have all kinds of techniques to tame the mind, whether you can do meditation, changing, or visualization. So it depends upon what you need, what you want. Effie, you want to respond to any question before you go?
Yeah, on that last page
with
with the mantras of the previous one you're on.
Oh, okay. So why
you're talking about elaborate why the chanting of Buddhist scriptures or mantras is one of the most essential aspects of Buddhist practices.
How?
I can't say why it's essential, but from my own personal experience, I like to chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I'm sure, yeah, I chant that all the time, and that to me, I forgot the name of the guy, but he said basically if you chant that right there, for lay people like us, you can attain enlightenment just by chanting that one mantra. So I know it's important, and it also it helps you achieve, you know, other states of consciousness by chanting mantras, because, you know, subconsciously they have a certain effect, you know, and I'm not too familiar with the science behind it, but I know from personal experience that chanting definitely does help. Reciting mantras definitely does help, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's the truth. There's truth contained in what you're reciting, so it has benefits on your consciousness. So that's why I do it.
Okay, let me explain briefly, all right, before I move on. One reason why by the chanting may be more effective for someone. Here, when you look at me, when you look at other people, when you look at an object, most of the time you have some thought, right? Some bias and so forth. Let's say, oh, let's say I see someone that wear the the black jacket. I would think, oh, this is expensive, this good, bad, and so forth. So most of them we have this kind of thought, discriminative thought, antithetical thoughts. That's what makes us crazy. So when we do the chanting, which whether it's the verse or the mantra, it reverses the patterns. We could do the chanting instead of thinking. Make sense? So we reverse the pattern that we would not need to think, but we just focus on the sound of the chanting. When we focus on sound chanting, that means we invoke or trigger. You can say that trigger or invoke our good nature there, the pure nature of the sound, the awareness of the sound. You got my points? Instead of playing around with the analytical thinking. That's the one of the benefit of chanting, right? So when you chant, you don't need to think. You can focus your mind on the chanting, and you more relaxed because there's no thought involved. Your mind will be more relaxing. Yes, Lex.
I just wanted to add something from a more scientific perspective, just in case it might help understanding. I'm reading about, like, in my psychology class, it says like the benefits of meditation is like focusing on one thing so much that your awareness of everything else kind of goes away and you're purely focused on that one thing.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why for me, I combine chanting the mantra and do meditation. Chanting the mantra help me to let go of my thought without thinking much about things that I'm chanting, and just focus on the sound of the mantra or the verse and so forth, and do meditation and ground myself down to follow the breath. Right. So that's so helpful if you practice and you can feel that. Okay, so let's move on with let's say Abigail. Which question do you want to respond? This B or A?
Oh, can I go back to the other page, please?
This one? Which one?
So I'd like to talk about number 2. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how much I can speak on it. I'm not super educated about the topic, but I did live in China when I was younger. I lived in Beijing. And I know that, you know, there's a law in China that's you can't reincarnate. And it was basically just put there to like poke at Buddhists. And the way I have seen the Dalai Lama in Tibet react has been incredibly compassionate in regards to the, I don't know if I want to say bully, but the unfair and, you know, terrible laws regarding that. So that's kind of all I know about that. I haven't done the reading for this week, but that's the question that I kind of know a little bit about.
Let's say if someone break in your room, your house, and try to harm one of your family members, and yet they were harmed, could you be compassionate to the intruders?
I mean, I'd like to think in theory I could. That's the thing. Like, you know, I'd like to see from like an observer level and be like, okay, well, you know, why did this happen? What was their benefit for doing this? What is going on, right? But that, I'm not sure how to do that. That's incredibly difficult.
Difficult,
Yeah.
right? No way.
If someone hurt my family, I mean,
no way.
I want to hurt them. I know that sounds terrible, but it's like that's how I would feel. So it's
Yeah,
impressive.
either we sue them, either we ask to put them in jail, or
Right.
they deserve to be punished in one way and others, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what we were talking earlier about like Western view of karma, right? Like it's just all about justice. And yeah, so I completely agree. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, Jenny, if you were Dalai Lama, your countrymen were killed. Millions of your countrymen were killed by Chinese communists. Could you still could be compassionate to those Chinese communists?
Um, I want to say only because in practice, you know, we're like you said, we don't have a soul, or you know, there's no self. It's just um, you know, the energies and stuff. And you could be compassionate only because I mean, I think he could only because he knows that karma will, like, you know, later on, I guess, not punish them, but like um how to say, even things out, if that makes sense. You know, I think he could, like, you could hold the grudge, but at the end, it's like we're not here anyways. Like, we're not permanent. Like, so, like, what's the point of being angry or, you know, mad? Only because none of us is here permanently. You know, we don't really, like, technically, like, we exist, but we don't at the same time. So, you know, uh, I think that's how that would work. And I feel like
Actually, be careful. Sorry to interrupt you, but just be careful. If you see in that way, let's say if some intruder break into your house and they harm some of your family members, and say, "Oh, there's no cell at all. I don't care much about my family members. They die. It's just okay." There's no way for us to say that, right?
I I feel like there's a way to be compassionate, but also like what, revenge or something. I don't know how to say it. Like like when
Easy.
some, like, you don't wish harm on, like, I don't know how to say it. Like, you give them what, like, you reap what you sow. So, and in karma, you kind of like, you're kind of giving them that. Like, you know, you're, if you make them go to jail, they'll learn to be better citizens or whatever. You know, you, it's different. I don't know how to explain it, but I personally would probably want to beat them up. You know, I
Yeah.
haven't gotten past that. You know, I haven't gotten to that level yet. It's hard for me to be, only because, like, uh, I understand where they were coming from, but to harm somebody else is a whole different thing, and that's bad karma in and of itself. So they've, you know, they've tilted that, you know, energy towards them, you know, but, and I know I'd probably have bad karma myself for harming them, but to me, it's like, well, you harmed somebody I knew, and, you know, but I'm not sure if the Dalai Lama could be compassionate. Like, that's a really difficult question, only because, you know, I know a lot of bad stuff happened, and, you know, it's a lot of people were killed, and it's hard to tell, you know, and that's all up to him, I think.
Okay. Yeah. That's how could you respond? If yes,
Um,
oh, there's no cell. I don't care much about family members. If the intruder kill them, because no cell. Is that Buddhist feel? There's no way, right?
I feel like in a way, whenever you try to enact revenge, you are trying to personally affect how things go. And in doing that, you're like desiring to have an effect on everything and how things turn out. I just feel like whenever you put yourself into the revenge or justice equation, you're not like trusting that it's all going to even out. So that's my personal view on it. I do think that you can reach someone with compassion, even if they've done horrible wrong to you. I think in a lot of ways, it shows that like you refuse to like go down to that level, and you continue to keep like a respectful and right way of communicating.
So again, go back to the question: if some intruder break into your house and harm some of your family members, can you be compassionate to them? Or you sit there and watch them to harm your family members?
Eventually, yeah.
You watch it. I mean, would you do anything or just watch them to harm your family members?
I'm really not much of a fighter. I'm very much so a pacifist. I definitely think if someone like held me at gunpoint, I would just let them shoot me.
Actually, remember that's tricky, right? How about Jack? What do you think? Is that your response? If someone break into your house and they try to harm your family members, they just sit and watch?
But it's hard to know what I would do in the situation. No, yeah, I would not sit and watch.
No way. In Buddhist view. That's why in Buddhist view, yes, it's okay for some Buddhists if they choose to join in with the Navy, Army, and military so that they can protect the country. So if you sit there and watch the intruders to harm your family members, you give them incentive to do bad karma. You have to find some way to stop them. Have compassion. And on the top that you have to recognize as, yes, now they do bad karma. Eventually, in the future, whether it's tomorrow, to next year, and so forth, they may pay for that karma in jail. So that's why we have that type of compassion toward those intruders, those hurt others. You understand that? So in Buddhist views, that in the proactive way, not in the passive way. So we can say, oh, okay, go ahead and harm my family members. Especially if you have young children, there's no way for you to sit still, right? So that's why, yes, we would not harm them. We not try to make the revenge, but at least we find some way to stop them. And on the top of that, we develop the compassion because sooner or later they have to stay in the jail. That's their consequences. That's where we develop the compassion, not compassion because they can harm our family members. That's not the case. Right? Don't be confused. So that's why many people they say, oh, but it's so pessimistic or passive. Can let people do anything that they want to. No, we need to help those intruders, a bad guy, to stop creating karma with our compassion, not out of revenge, doing things to revenge them, but to stop them, not to do the bad deeds, not to create bad karma. That's just what it's about. Okay, so please don't misunderstand about that. Don't sit still. No, you need to do something to stop them. So it's more logical, right? It's just more reasonable, right? And but when you interact, whether you try to stop them with your stick, whichever, be compassionate because they need to stop. They need to stop this action. Otherwise, they create more bad karma in the future. And in the future, they end up in jail longer and so forth. Okay. All right. How about Jenny? Which have you responded to our question yet, Jenny?
Not yet. I wanted to go. I think it was number 3, the one about fake news.
Okay. What do you want to say then?
I was just reading a bit about right speech right now, and how right speech counters it is that in Buddhism, anything you say, like if you lie or if you spread false news or anything, that comes back as karma against you, you know? So how that would fight against fake news is that it, you know, due to the consequence of getting bad karma, that like it negatively affects you if you spread lies or, you know, false things about other people. So I feel like that would help with spreading fake news in a sense. You know, it would kind of deter people from doing that.
Okay, good. Thank you. Lex, have you responded to our question yet?
I responded earlier to will you please scroll up a little bit?
Oh, this one, I see. I see.
Yeah, I responded earlier the read what you said question.
All right, so I want you to respond to the question, right? Oh, okay, that's good. Then how about this? Let me share with you some video clips that relate to this week lesson. And if we have time, I can give you the Kahoot and that's a chance for you to get some extra credit. Okay. Just watch this one. It's not too long.
This pain in my chest. I got kicked out of my house. The panic attacks. I, like many other teens, have struggled with anxiety. My social anxiety. Really bad anxiety and depression. I used to go to school just completely exhausted every single day because I'd be up all night worrying. I felt kind of like a ghost roaming through the halls. The stress made me sick.
It's just a lot of repetitional thinking about like if there is a purpose to life, whether if there is any reason to continue forth or to just cut it short.
Take a second and breathe and reflect on what you feel. Awareness to who I really am and how I matter.
Finding balance.
It really feels like a place where you can be yourself.
We can be authentic.
Feel safe. Safe? I was like on the verge of suicide before taking the class, and my family didn't really know what else to do. I was in counseling, seeing a therapist, and taking medicine. Spending the first semester in this class really helped me get past that point and not let the mental illness that I struggle with take over my life. So class brought a lot. Anytime I start to feel overwhelmed, drop down, I put my head down. I was like, all right, let's think. I just started breathing, and it's just really helpful. It's easy to get mad. It's not easy to get angry and then bring yourself down. Me growing up, I was always told meditation and stuff was things that priests or it was a girl thing. But then you grow up a little bit and you're like, meditation is just you taking care of yourself, and everybody should take care of themselves.
It's real stuff. It's what you need. You learn these tips for life skills that actually bring you together and interweave with everyone else.
Being able to share,
direct my attention and stay present.
I can break my fear.
I now know how to turn my attention to my breath, calm myself down. I knew that I could help myself.
Observe life more.
How to speak in a way that makes people want to open up to you. Show myself loving kindness.
Learning how to control my anger. I also learned how to, be more of a better listener.
This class means everything to me right now. It honestly feels like 50 pounds is lifted off my shoulders. I truly believe that this class has saved my life and changed it for the better.
Thinking about what the mindfulness class at my school has done for my community and my school in general, it's been groundbreaking.
I think it's just a really valuable class, and I honestly wish that it was at every high school in the US.
If there was a mindfulness class in every high school,
I feel like this world would be a totally different place because I feel like there'd be a lot more understanding.
And there would be a lot more respect in the world.
If mindful studies was in every school in the world, we'd all become much better listeners.
Somebody says something, somebody doesn't like that, has to retaliate. But if we had mindfulness, we can learn to accept that my reality is different from yours.
I think a lot of that tension is caused by people not really knowing how to handle themselves and their feelings and emotions.
You don't have to be a politician to change the world. You can just be in a mindfulness class. That's how I feel.
I have the ability to overcome obstacles. I have the ability to achieve like never before, and I have the ability to be who I am, loving who I am, and taking that love with me and spreading it everywhere else I go.
Okay, that's one. Okay, so that's so affect you in every moment of our life if we practice meditation, right?
Researchers have known for decades that meditation can improve someone's physical and mental health. It can relieve stress, lower blood pressure, and lift someone's mood. But only in the last 10 years have neuroscientists taken a serious look at the changes in brain structure underlying some of meditation's benefits. Like everything else we do, meditation rewires our neural circuits, pruning away the least used connections and strengthening the ones we exercise most. Studies looking for signs of these changes usually focus on mindfulness meditation, which challenges people to keep their attention fixed on their thoughts and sensations in the present moment. Scientists acknowledge that many of these studies are small and not ideally designed, but at this point, researchers have gathered enough evidence to be confident that their findings are not just flukes. Experiments suggest that Buddhist monks have really robust connections between scattered regions of their brains, which allows for more synchronized communication. Expert meditators also seem to develop an especially wrinkly cortex, the brain's outer layer. We depend on the cortex for many of our most sophisticated mental abilities, like abstract thought and introspection. Several studies have confirmed that meditation can increase the volume and density of the hippocampus, a seahorse-shaped area of the brain in the middle of the skull that is absolutely crucial for memory. And although areas of the brain responsible for sustaining attention usually shrink as we age, meditation counteracts this decay. An increasing number of studies show that meditating for as little as 12 to 20 minutes a day for several weeks can sharpen the mind. In these studies, meditators have scored higher on tests of attention and working memory, which is the ability to temporarily store and manipulate information in one's mind. Some lifelong meditators in their 50s and 60s can even outperform 20-somethings on tests of visual attention. So if you're interested in trying meditation, you should probably start as soon as possible. For some
Okay, that's one. That's a lot. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. You guys heard about Headspace? Any one of you know Headspace apps? It's getting popular, right?
I think for most athletes, there's always been the recognition that the mind's really important. You know, by the time you turn up at an event or a game or a race, you've done everything you can from a physical point of view. All that matters is where your mind is on that day. We actually started working with professional athletes probably about 5 years ago, before the very first Headspace app even came out, before it was launched. I do think sport is just a great example of how we can cultivate and train the mind and then apply it to a very specific discipline in everyday life. There's something about kind of being present, being able to drop whatever's been going on in the past, being able to drop whatever concerns there might be about the race ahead, and actually just being present and applying the skill in the way that they've been trained to apply. First and foremost, we're human beings, and then we're athletes. And yes, that sport might mean the world to us, but the world is bigger than that. Once you look at the journey of sport and activity through that lens, it becomes very holistic. You know, we're not just focused on one thing, on the competition. It becomes a little bit about everything. Mind is mind, you know, and whether I turn up to a little fun run down the road or whether it's an Olympic race, actually kind of it still matters kind of in my training and in my competition where my mind is. When we apply ourselves to sports, to activities, we want to perform to the best of our ability. And part of that is not only making sure the body is willing and in shape, but also understanding the importance of the mind.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. Yet watch one more. Oh, it's pretty long. Okay. How about this? Let's move on. If you can. Let's see here.
Good.
Yeah.
We're renters. No worries. Have a great day.
Okay, if you can take out your cell phone. Okay, this is it's just the some question regarding about the video clips that you watch, and I can give you the extra credit. The first will get 15, the second will get 10, and the last will be 5. Okay, out of you guys. Okay. So this is a time for you to get extra credit. And please put your full name. Okay. You go to here, Kahoot.it, and enter this one, the number. Put the full name, please. So we have 6 of you. So half of you will get extra points. Also usually I have more than the students. They have to compete with the extra credit. But for you, you have 50% of the chance to get extra credit. Okay. One more. Anyone? Let's see here. Jack. Okay. All right. Good. All right. So let me move on then. Okay. So you have 50% of chance to get extra credit. Okay. Try your best. Mindfulness teaches you to be aware of your feeling and what? It's easy question. And what? Oh, 5 you got right. Yeah, 1 you got wrong. Accept them. Yeah. Who is top? Christina on the top. Good. The next one. Meditation. Change the rational function of left brain and so forth. You can guess this one. Modify the abstract function of right brain. Sorry, no one right. Unless you read some articles, you will know. Otherwise, it's not easy. I know. So no one got right. Yeah, Christina is still on the top. Next one. Doing meditation means to change your thought, to analyze your thought, to control your breath, to take care of yourself. Easy question.
This pain in my chest. I got kicked out of my house.
Panic attacks. I, like many other teens, have struggled with anxiety, my social anxiety.
Yeah, wow, 4 you got right. Take care of yourself, right? Okay, Abigail, you start on the top now. Okay, number 4. Keep your palms on your chest and belly. This one is for the video, so it's too long, but you can guess.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to
You can guess, right? Remember, you have 50% of having extra credit. You try your best.
We're going to talk about some easy tips for better focus and calm. So, what is mindfulness? Besides being the hottest...
Yeah, sorry, it's not easy unless you watch all the video clips. It's more 6 minutes, so it's too long. So I skip that. So don't worry, you still have the chance to get some extra credit. Okay, Abigail still on the top. Number 5. On the speaker, when you play sport, you just watch. You should what? You just watch that video clips. We should what? Drop your concern, analyze your concern, think of your concern, control your concern. Which one? Yeah, you should drop your concern and focus on your sport, on your playing. Abigail, okay, you're on the top. Keep up, okay. Number 6. When the Buddhist chants the mantra, they focus their mind on their thought, the vocal voice, sound, the mantra syllables, the word. Which one? So yeah, the vocal sound, focus on the sound. Yeah, so when you focus on the sound, like I just mentioned recently, that you let go or your emotional thought and any kind of thought would not disturb you anymore. That's what's the meaning. Okay, good. Abigail, this is the last question. Keep up on the top, okay? All right. Deity visualization. Okay. Like Jacqueline just mentioned about, Epi just mentioned. It's not easy, but you can guess. Yeah, activates sympathetic system. Yeah, Chip, you got right. All right, let's see who are the three. Oh, Jeffrey, you have 5 points, five extra points. Caden, you have 10. Who is top? Miguel, wow, congratulations. So, okay, so you trip you got that extra point. So let's move on then. Okay, so see that. So I give you the chance to get some extra credit, and you have 50%, right? So Caden is the top, right? Oh no, sorry, Abrira, right? Abigail, right? You have 15 extra point. Caden 10, and Jackie you have 5. All right, so try your best next time. Okay, so just stay with me for a while. Let me go over briefly about the schedule for next week on week number 4. During week number 4, you're supposed to submit the let's see here. Oh, online representation or an analyst paper. Okay, so anyone you have worked with your partner yet? Or you have problems or what? So Christina, who is your partner?
Abigail is my partner.
Okay, you guys work together for a topic yet?
Yeah, we're working together. We haven't started yet.
Oh, good. So, okay, try next Sunday. About Caden, who is your partner, Caden?
Dan is my partner. We haven't started yet though, but we talked about getting things started.
Yeah, get tied contact with them. Jenny, who is your partner?
I'm partners with Zach, but we haven't started yet. But we should.
Okay. Liz, you haven't partner yet? You work with them?
I'm partners with Efe, and we have discussed a topic. We have not started the presentation yet, though.
Okay, so work together. That's what I like. You guys work together. If again, if at the end you could not work well together, that's understandable. And you can write analysis paper, but try your best to work out together. That's the time you learn together. Okay, so that's all for me today. Any question? Any question before we move on?
I have a
yes.
question. Sorry, it's just like for me. So I didn't submit my final presentation like topic. I just it blanked. Can I send that to you now? Was that due already? I was a little confused.
No, that's okay. Now here in my class, I don't subtract any points for late submission. Just send them to me, okay?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know that all the professor, there's no way for you to submit after the due date, right? Yes. For me, that's okay.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
what now here, listen, I concerned about the quality of your work, not the quality, not the timings, right? So even I guess I know I set up the due date for you guys to submit, but I know in life we have a lot of problems to deal with. But don't wait for last minute. That's your choice, and don't blame on me when you wait for last minute to jump. Sorry, you may miss them easily. Okay, so you can subtract. I mean that you can submit any times, but try your best to submit on times, and focus on the quality of your work. Okay. Any more questions before we end today? Okay, so if it's okay, you can go. But Christina, want to stay back? I'd like to talk with you a little bit about your field trip. Okay. All right, so you guys can go now. Thank you. See you then. See you next week, next Thursday. Okay, thank you. Okay, Christina, let me turn up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I visited VTT